Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the High School Esports League Fortnite Invitational. I'm Big Hungry Phil, and here to help bring me the action today is, of course, Septilance. Septilance, welcome to the broadcast. What have we got to look forward to this evening?
We have three what is bound to be incredible rounds of Fortnite coming out very quickly for you guys, and it's something that I've been absolutely on the edge of my seat waiting to cast all day. Competitive Fortnite at its best is really when these players get super aggressive. They get to show off for us casting them and everybody watching at home. And I mean, these players are here to bring the best of the very best. I mean, it's not an invitational for no reason, you know?
Quite right, and of course, the difference here between the difference between this and your casual playtime, your ranked playtime at home on whatever your preferred platform is that these guys are now incentivized to
Yep.
go hard, to go fast, and to take no prisoners here. So if you're used to a certain pace of Fortnite, prepare to have that just ramped up ever so slightly here, and particularly over the course of today's three matches, because it is gonna go hard and it's gonna go heavy here today. Now, Septon, probably worth going over here a little bit what the general format is for people
Yeah.
that haven't maybe taken part or haven't seen this sort of battle royale format. So, how is this going to work? Break that down for us.
So the primary ideology is, of course, you want to place as high as possible. You know, the further up the ladder you get, the more points you can score off the back of that. But you also get points for the amount of eliminations that you get in each game. So you don't necessarily have to be coming in that top three to score well, as long as you're dropping 10, 11, 12 bomb games and you're able to find these massive amounts of eliminations. But all in all, you still, at the end of the day, want to be that final survivor, because that really does rack up the points for you and gets you just a little bit ahead of the game of everybody else. And after our first game, and definitely after our second game, we will have a standing for all of you guys at home to be watching and to see who really is on top and who's really got to start clutching up in that third and final game.
One of the, I guess, interesting things about the way that a battle royale works is that you can have a bad game. You
Right.
can land poorly in your first game and just get taken out the map straight away, no points, no nothing. And you can come back and you can have a stonking game 2 and a stonking game 3 and find yourself right at the top of the leaderboards. Hard to do. It's a big deficit to come back from, but expect big swings in scores over the course of today's matches and expect high drama and excitement. But Septilance, looks like we are about to board the battle bus and get into the first of today's matches. Let's see where we're dropping.
Absolutely. I could not be more excited to see where this is going to take us. And like you said, my favorite thing about competitive Fortnite is simply the fact that you take no prisoners. Everybody here is going to be as aggressive as possible. And some of these players are going to be racking up kills like nobody's business.
Exactly. Well, nice festive battle bus for the season, of course. And there's the first batch of players dropping out the back, as we say. 26 seconds until they are all forced out and ready to go. What are we expecting here? What's the meta looking like? It's always been, kind of one burst weapon, one sustain weapon. Is that still the case here?
Now, that's definitely something that I see a lot, and I don't play this game at a competitive level very often, but I absolutely love playing it myself, and I personally like to do that kind of one long distance, one sustainable weapon kind of in that second slot, and then maybe just a spam item in that third, whether that's grenades or an SMG or something to really break down those enemy builds. And I suspect that we're going to see something similar coming out from a lot of these players, and we're going to see some early lands onto Retail Row here, which was and always has been a very popular map for these players and a great spot to land. And we're going to see early on a lot of people probably going to be dying depending on the population and who lands where. If we see a bunch of players land in one space, I mean, especially in this competitive setting, only one of them is going to walk away alive.
Of course, this is it's not a team game. It's not duos. It's not trios. It is 1v1v all the way up to 40 here. So it's going to get chaotic at some point, and team strategy not going to be coming into this. Instead, all about individual skill and survivability. If you want a rough reckoning as to how this is going, if you're not used to watching Fortnite, keep a weather eye on that top left corner. It will tell you how many players we have left in the game. We have now actually, as I say that, got the first kill already. In the meantime, currently on board with a player here, just generating mat to them, and it just wants to get enough to start building when we get to the build phase. And having a look at the map here, Scepters, a huge amount of spread here, plays in every corner of the map.
Yeah, these players really have gone to spread themselves out. That's exactly what they should be doing, is finding materials, because right now it's not necessarily going to be huge to have mats, but toward the end game where you're really getting in this close quarters proximity with these other players, whoever runs out of mats first at a massive disadvantage. And when the map was pulled up there, we all got to see there's two llamas almost smack in the middle of the map,
Mhm.
and that is free materials like nobody's business. That is going to be a massive clutch if anybody's able to get in and find those early on, because those materials could be the exact same reason somebody lives later on.
Yeah, quite right. By the time we get to the end of this, expect this to be a chaotic rush of building, players vying for the high ground, vying to track the ring as it starts to move in the final stage of the game. And you will, of course, need to be loaded, stocked to the hilt with materials to make that a possibility. We are already 5 players down. So, whilst the players may have been a little bit of spread overall, there's clearly still a little bit of bunching here and there. But this is always going to be an exponential trend in this game. It's going to be a slow couple of first minutes, and the excitement starts to ramp and ramp up as the kills do. So we are on board with best player Nuts at the minute. It was looking fairly well stocked up for now for such an early point in the game. We'll get some of the smaller shield potions online and ready to go. So ready to take on whoever they run into first here. It looks like a pretty... Oh, no, has actually got a beam
Oh,
of someone in the distance. There's the build coming through. Gonna look to rotate around that and try and find a way to take out the enemy as the build comes through. No, actually, nice escape there, but the build is on. Now it's going vertical. Quick build up to the top to try and get the high ground advantage, and it's coming through hot and heavy over onto the high ground. Looking to interrupt the build, gets through, breaks the wall. I can't find the shot, then it's into the
oh,
edit. Edit's down, and now it is just wall to
oh!
wall, and Nuts down! An aggressive play punished by clever building.
Yeah, Ronda able to find the capitalization off the back of best player, getting a little bit too aggressive. The hubris comes through, they go face to face, and the shotgun just found them. The shrapnel was there, and the hubris definitely paid for. That was the first on-screen battle we've really got to see in Ronda, our first 1v1 victor that we've got live on stream.
Well, certainly looking to see what else we get from a player later on in the game. Still very early on, 33 players left, only 7 down. As we move on to a little bit difficult to pick out what the effective thing to call some of these players are with the 3 player names. Well, we're going to be taken away before we even get the chance to properly name this player. Now back on board with Evil Saturn. Hate to think what sort of competition was held to decide that they were of the eviler of the Saturns in the lobby. Again, looking pretty well stocked up here. 4 shields, 4 health. Nice bit of variety on the guns. Might want to start looking for some better options eventually, but overall, very well stocked. Lots of materials. In fact, a full stack of metal here as well, which for so early in the game is quite surprising.
Oh, wow. But Flumph, I mean, here to triumph that as well. Full brick as well there. So that is definitely an impressive thing to watch out for. That's 1,000 materials. That's going to be 100 builds there just coming out of this player alone. And something a lot of people can see if you guys are keeping an eye on these inventories. And Flumph is actually the first we've seen to not have small shield potions in their inventory. But small shield potions, especially in that late game, are fantastic to keep your player alive. They can only give you up to about 50 shields, but all in all, they still can really bring that extra 50 health. Can be the very same reason you're able to win something.
Yeah, it's all about, you know, again, if you're not used to watching Fortnite, if you're not used to watching the sort of high-paced FPS gameplay, it might look like it's all spare of the moment decisions and like twitch reflexes and what have you, but a lot of it is about making sure that you are prepared for any situation and being in a state where you've already got 4 shields and you've got the capacity to bring additional shields to bear. You can build yourself a little box to hide in to get those shields back up and ready is going to be the sort of stuff that dictates whether or not you're getting first, second, third, or lower than that. So these players taking the time here to build up those inventories is exactly what we need to see from the higher levels of play. But Septilance, worth noting, we are now very nearly into the top 3 quarters. 31 players remaining here. And as the storm starts to close in, expect this to get just that little bit more frantic.
Yep, and right now this first circle not quite coming to a close yet, but these players, they've had plenty of room to be spread out. They haven't had to go toe-to-toe quite yet, but as I say it, Pete's able to find TB plays in the midst. They're knocking us down to those final 30 players. The 10 players have already been eliminated, and of course that leaves us with 30. We now see Extra unknowingly walking away from what appears to be one opponent, not that far outside the circle. We could see some combat coming out here depending on what these players choose to do, but no, it looks like Extra may in fact know that they are back there. We see they're not really going for a sustainability kit. They've got a single med kit and a lot of weaponry to boot. They've got
Mhm.
a close quarters, a long range, a sniper rifle as well, and they've got that mid range. They've got the assault rifle and that submachine gun. So they're ready to go in any direction the combat may take them. But after they take the damage, I feel like they're really going to struggle to survive.
Yeah, I think we've got to start seeing some of this swapped out, particularly given where we're seeing them play at the minute. I think if you were playing on the edge of the circle and you were happy to just wait and get forced in to take those engagements as we start to see them close the distance and trail the edge of the circle, then that's fine. You're in a better position there to just get some opportunistic snipes. But the fact that they're playing more towards the center and at risk of being, third, fourth, fifth, etc. partied as they come through this means that, I'm a little bit worried about how they're going to make this work in the long run, but they're still progressing through the map and they will be hopefully picking up some changes. We are going to lose Jay Mocha here, so now down below the 30 mark and a little of a burrow into the sand there.
It looks like
Sneaky beaky.
we've got some about 3 players all in all right behind this rare player here in the sand, and that was kind of confusing. They seem very close quarters with the eliminations,
Yeah.
not coming through quite yet. Extra still just running around swinging, unable to find really any value. But no, the battle is going to be coming out, engaging very quickly. And I mean, look how fast those builds come out. Extra now simply just trying to catch their breath and try to find any value off the back of this, but they are now being cornered in, already almost out of those shields. Things are looking bleak here already.
Yeah, now he's just got to rely on the raw mechanical skill of the aim here to out-aim, out-build, out-snipe, out-position his opponent because he doesn't have the new to stay in this fight, and that is now his one single solitary shield potion gone. 50 shields, all that's available to them. Really need to see them take the initiative here because he knows that the player is still in this. You can, just through the cracks in the gap there, see that the build is still going on. To try and aggress his way in, sees where the build is coming through, trying to reposition around them, building up instead, quick edit into the wall, and there we go, gets the breakthrough. Now it is toe to toe, down to no shields, into the health pool alone, and down and out. So what we were saying, guys, you've got to come into this prepared.
Absolutely. We were talking about that early on. Sustainability is what it's all about. And we see, I mean, look at the sustainability coming out from Peace. Not only do they have 5 minis, they've still got a full mega pot here, a full pot just sitting in their inventory. They've got some guns spread out as well. So I'm really glad I didn't give a definitive answer earlier when you asked about what the meta might be, because every single one of these players that had something different in their pockets. So they are really helping show that, part of this game does come down to comfortability. What do you think is going to help you perform the best? These players are here to show us.
Absolutely. And of course, one of the things to consider here is that as well as players having a preferred loadout, there's going to be preferred points of insertion here. Like, players will be dropping in places where they know they've got a good idea of where the good loot is, what the good pathing options are, where they can harvest materials. And I think some of the early kills might be where we've seen a little bit of conflict for some of those drops. But by and large, everyone seems to have dropped in a very, very safe, very spread manner here. So there's been no real challenge for weapons. Like, everyone's just been able to walk around and get whatever they want. Oh, we are in on the action. Is Peace with a couple of shots in. We will see the build come through, but now they are trapped to their opponent in the box, up close and personal, and that looked like a big old give up there, acknowledging that they were trapped between a rock, a hard place, and Peace.
Yeah, Peace. Now with 4 eliminations under the belt here, just pulling out and finding these eliminations very early on. Now, not really losing anything, not having to use any of the potions they have on standby, and plenty of ammo to boot. I mean, 600 light ammo, and that's really all they need with the kit they're carrying. They don't really play very close quarters, and even when they did not have that shotgun out. So, I mean, things are looking good, but as I say it, no able to find that 5th elimination. The shotgun does come out and confirms a 5th here for Peace.
I mean, this is kind of crazy from Peace. He just seemed to not even slightly break a sweat there, like cool, calm, collected, saw that his opponent was up in the air, just a casual track with a shotgun, and boom, out of the sky like a clay pigeon. Man, I would not want to meet this guy in a game because I got the feeling that he would just take my head off at the shoulders here.
Yeah, honestly, and now with the sniper and the jetpack as well coming out from this Mandalorian setup, I mean, it's going to be dangerous. They get a little bit more advantage in these close-to-close builds, and, maybe that'll help them come out on top. The sniper, however, maybe now they're looking for that long range. They go from a very close-quarters fighter to now being able to get a little more aggressive from a distance.
Ooh, and with a bit of scope there, yeah, I can see the build. Looks like, and of course with the jetpack, very easy for him to get up on top of the structure. Not going to opt for that just yet, instead going for the build now onto the jetpack, up onto the top. Now, has the high ground, not opting to take the fight in the build, spots an opponent out in the distance, and of course he will have that long range option. Won't find the shot and needs to consider who is currently playing beneath him. Doesn't want to get surprised. Looks to build through here. Will get the destruct onto the building. Can't quite get the shot in quick enough for it to come down. Has the high ground. A couple of shots in over the shield. Very close stuff here, Septilence.
Yeah, this is really close indeed. And Peace, even if they end up taking this fight a little bit slower, they are forcing their opponent to burn through materials like nobody's business right now. But no! Instead, Peace drops in, and Akaso is going to be the one to eliminate the 6-bomb player already. Things looking phenomenal up to this point for them. And all of a sudden, a player comes out, a great bunker strat coming through as well, and it's the very same reason they get to live just a little bit longer. And all Peace did was bring them one overpowered sniper rifle.
Yeah, this is it's a really unfortunate turn of events there for Peace, because he was looking really good to make a deep run into this particular match. Instead, he's just going to have to hope that he can replicate those kills in the next couple of matches and keep his points total up. For Akaso, though, in a really great position now. Has obviously all of the, overpowered might not be the word, but for those of you not used to Fortnite, you're looking for the colors here. It's a rarity scale, and if you see a sort of gold, orangey color, that usually is a pretty good weapon. And this is, of course, the sniper rifle that came in as part of the Mandalorian tie-in franchising, tie-in event, tie-in limited time, whatever. Like, wow. It's a big, powerful gun in a great position here, particularly with all of this structure built around them. Very hard to dislodge.
Yeah, very hard to dislodge, and even if you do get in, they're going to be hard to hit. With all these pyramids on the ground here, it's going to be really difficult to use this terrain to get into your opponent, but instead Akaso going to leave everything behind and maybe just get a little bit more aggressive. They fall underneath their build, and they're trying to use the sniper to their advantage, but it almost looks like they're lagging a little bit on us, but that might just be a mechanic thing.
Yeah, I think that's possibly a combination mechanic thing and just the observer for Fortnite. Guys, you know, it's fine. It's got a couple of idiosyncrasies here. I am surprised that Akaso has given up that box position quite so quickly.
Especially if they're building so much.
Yeah, I mean, like almost all of your resources dedicated trying to outbuild and outperform Peace, and now you're just giving that up. I mean, you can see the storm coming in. They're making an early push into the storm zone, out of the storm zone to try and take a slightly more defensible position, which I think is certainly one way of playing. We will see a lot of players basically playing the edge of this circle, like being forced in by the storm and just sweeping people up as they move in. In fact, I think as we're on board with wins.exe, they're not quite taking that strategy as they are starting to move over towards the center themselves here. But look for players who are seeming to linger behind a little bit, because that's what they're looking to do here.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you look at that bottom right, you see the storm is about to start closing in once again. Storm 3 of 9 till the end of this thing here. And every time that storm starts closing in, the combat is just going to get more and more consistent. We will have more and more to see. The beginning of these rounds always start off a little bit slow, but when these players run out of room and it becomes a fight or flight, all they can do is fight. And that's exactly what we're going to see here. We're going to see Rare start to take on somebody else. I haven't been able to catch their name yet, but the build battle has commenced. The blood will begin to flow any moment now. Already taking a massive shot off that shield. Things are looking bleak, but they've got plenty of time to turn this around.
Man, it's 4D chess as the builds start to come through. Each player, again, vying for the high ground. Rare looks to take a moment to take a breather there, but not going to be given that. Instead, goes for the complete drop down. Now down into the water and looking to make a quick escape here. No kills on the board yet for Rare, so it looks like they might just be having to play for podium positioning here. But a lot of shots coming in. You can't afford to make yourself a sitting target like that. And there's no shield potions available here. Needs to rely on getting a big, powerful sniping here against their opponent. Otherwise, it is all of a hiding for nothing, and Rare will be out of the fight.
Really? It really does come down to this. They've got a single flopper in their inventory here. One fish to heal up just a bit of health in the sniper battle. That fish, at this point, really wouldn't make a difference if this comes through with a headshot. Things are going to be very difficult moving forward. They've got the sniper rifle, but they have no other mid-range weapon. They either need to play this far away, or they've got to get way closer, or Rare will lose this engagement.
A quick edit through of the window, but now as we see their opponent start to build above from that window, no longer of much use. The window of opportunity very much closed. They're going to have to see them try and back out of this one. I don't know if they've got really the materials to keep in this extended duel here, and in fact it's going to come down to the 1v1 down at the bottom ground. No, back into the build, but getting lower and lower down to only 80 materials available for Rare here. Needs to drop down and start to re-enter this construct.
Yeah,
That's
8
a nice
platforms
position.
left. I mean, that's going to be 5 now, right? They just built 3
Yeah.
metal there, so that's going to be 5 platforms left to build. Now they just have to work with what they already have because they can't afford to use the rest of the materials.
Oh, has at least seen their opponent. And it comes through. There's the window. There's the half triangle. Coming through again. That's some damage through onto the shield, but Rare themselves, no shield left to speak of, as we've mentioned.
Down, this is going to be
down
close.
And down. Yeah, very, very close there. Swifter with the first kill on board, and Swifter now looking very well kitted out. And look how little of the map is left, Seth.
Yeah, it really does happen in the blink of an eye. Blink and you miss it 10 minutes away. And as we see on the left here, V negative taking some damage. We don't see that engagement quite yet, but we saw the damage coming through. So maybe keep an eye on that kill feed. But right now, these players, like I said, they are running out of room to make this happen. It is going to be a bit of a disaster for some of these folks. They can play that long burn style. They've all made it into the top 50% of players, but they are running out of time to play this passive presentation. They really need to start taking each other out here if they have any hope of making it to top 10, maybe even top 3.
Well, we are back on board with Akaso, who still has a lot of the equipment that was left to them by the earlier kill against Peace, but not currently being challenged. So right now, no real reason to push out. Nice and safely ensconced in the center of the ring. Lots to play with here. Just going to wait for the damage to come to them, I think.
That is definitely a strategy. We saw it worked for Akaso once already, and they still have more than enough equipment or materials to make this happen. Even if they leave this structure behind, Winders as well, these two could just build. They could build to the moon and back with the equipment they have under their belt here, and it could really help them come out on top of an engagement. And it's going to be difficult because Akaso, a similar issue, they've got a close, a mid, and a long range, but with the way they've been playing, all they can really do is rely on that shotgun.
And again, one more time for those of you, if you are watching, say as a parent of one of these players and you're not used to how Fortnite works, take a look at the mini-map. The purple areas are what is currently the storm, so players take damage whilst they're inside of that. And that shrinking area of colour is where our players can safely play. This has actually been great forward positioning from Winners, is already inside the next circle, ready to go, well kitted out, a bit of range, a bit of close distance, and lots of materials to play with still. In fact, we are going to see the build start to come through as they look to move further and further into that next circle. But now everyone is starting to move towards them. We're on board with the Retonic. 3 kills already, and high pace booking it into the next circle.
Oh, yep, gonna book it into the circle, gonna take 8 damage after falling outside of it, falling into the storm for just a bit. And Retonic, 3 eliminations, but we see they're already playing maybe a slight bit more passive than the rest of the folks we've seen so far. They're looking to survive, and they're looking to make sure maybe they can get a couple eliminations off the back of it. But right now, it looks like they're watching their 3, 6, 9, and 12. They are constantly 360ing around, watching every angle of the clock that they can, because they really want to make it to at least the top 10 here. With 3 eliminations under their belt, that is going to be quite helpful.
Yeah, but it's slowed down a little bit. We're only at 17 players remaining, and I feel like it's been a while since we've seen the name in that top left, but we might be about to get another one. A solid 31 there onto the shield. And it comes through, looking to break through the wall. Momentary glimpse of their opponent. Now has to start tunneling down towards them as the builds come through. Tracking them down, hunting them, finds them, and that is it! The kill on the board. Retonic hits 4, and we're down to 16 players in the game.
Evil or Saturn, the one we mentioned earlier ago, clearly not the evilest, as Retonic was able to come out on top of that engagement without even really using a shotgun. I think that was almost all SMG coming out of that, but I could be wrong there. And now Retonic has this entire pyramid to work with, this entire structure built between these two fighters. But as I say it, they might be pushed to the edges, as it is now just kissing the inside of that storm.
Yeah, no impetus to move just yet, but as the... Ooh, no, do you know what? I called that a little bit wrong. A little bit of impetus to move a couple of feet forward on that one. And just avoid taking a little more damage. Nice! Just beamed them down! I don't think they even knew Retonic was there. 5 kills for Retonic, and up into the top 15.
Yeah, I'll say it already. Retonic, the player to watch out for. 5 kills, 15 players left. Retonic looking to put themselves in a very comfortable position. 2 mini shields left, a couple fish in the inventory, and 200 health. Something a lot of players at this point might not have. So right now, Retonic just dumping in this damage, has the Scar online as well. With the storm going to close once again, it is time for these players to get moving because they cannot sit still for much longer.
Yeah, this is where if you had control over the music, you might start playing something like the William Tell Overture just to emphasize how fast. These guys have got a bucket to stay relevant in this fight. Retonic sees a bit of damage coming in them from their 6, stops to take the shields out, but now because they're ahead of the ring, they can kind of control where this is, but they need to get moving because you can't afford all that much patience. Nice relocation there into the center of the ring and possibly into the center of the fight here. Sees the builds happening all around him, looking to get the high ground position. Gets it up. Head it down, sees a lot of building, no people on site just yet, drops down, finds them off to the left, now back into the storm. Retonic down to no shields and not much HP. The longer they stay in the storm, the more damage it's going to be. We're down into the final 8 now, down into the final 7. Retonic still with 5 kills on the board here. No additional kills to the name, but still keeping themselves alive. And in this, here we are with GWP, 2 kills on board. Back over to Retonic. Still looking to build through here, and they're not going to be given a second's worth of peace here. Spots somebody down on the low ground, drops down, look to try and get underneath them as the build comes through. Sees them away in the distance, doesn't quite have the range there to take them, and now in the storm. Got to be quick about this, down to 30 HP. Retonic slides through. Somebody dies ahead of them, putting them into the top 5 here.
Yeah, Retonic made it to top 5, has 4 platforms left to build, and there goes every single one. Retonic now out of materials here, able to build a single structure, 10 health, no healing, 5 eliminations in a dream. Retonic now in the top 5, desperately trying to make this happen, but a single bullet from any item in this game will take them out of the fight. Flump here, now with 4 mini shields online, a complete medkit, a legendary shotgun, and a green AR. Things are looking fantastic for them, especially against players like Retonic, and like that enemy there now. Oh, that was Retonic! Excuse me. That was Retonic being taken out of the fight, so it's going to be down to the final 3. Flump has 2 eliminations, 2 enemies left to get through. Win's going to be one of them, 1 elimination under their belt as well, and now another engagement here for us now.
Wins with no items on board either, just down to weapons. And Win is kind of the same here, no healing items, though we are into the top 3 now, so healing items kind of not the order of the day. And that's going to be the top 2. Win does left. Wins.exe down, has the high ground position, gets a shot in onto the shield. Stops to get the build in, building a bit of a box. Sees him come around.
What a shot! 91
damage. Huge! And that is going to be Winders with a number 1 finish and 4 kills to their name.
Winders absolutely popping off in that final combination, that final circle there. I think they started that final circle with 1 elimination and found all 3 off the back of it. I might be wrong. I think we might have seen Retonic be eliminated by somebody else, but either way, that was a phenomenal ending coming out from Winders there.
It's endemic of the way that this game can work. So, you know, we were tracking Retonic, we were tracking Peace for a while there as well, and seeing them get like consistent kills, but just not be able to make it into the late game. And if you can just survive into the late game with a lot of equipment, then you can find yourself in a way to pick up what you've got left. But we will have the standings ready to go. So let's have a look and see what the points look like on the back of the first round.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw Peace get eliminated relatively early on, but simply due to the fact they had those eliminations under their belt, they're still able to make it into that top 6 placement. Our top 4, no surprise, it's going to be Wins, Flump, Retonic, and Winders, respectively, from 4th to 1st there. And Retonic, we saw, came in, I believe, 5th place, 4th place, and they were still able to come out in 2nd due to the sheer amount of eliminations they had before they ended up falling.
It's certainly an indication that I think Retonic is going to be a player that we probably want to be following quite a lot in the next couple of rounds.
Yep.
If he can replicate that performance in even just one more round, it gives him a nice, relaxed 3rd round ready to go for the rest of the fight. So definitely keep an eye on those top 5 players as we start to move into the second of our 2 games today. But we will be very shortly taking a short break. But before we throw to that short break, we would like to give a quick thank you to one of our sponsors today, Zaxby's. Zaxby's is a proud sponsor of High School Esports League. No need to hit pause. Order Zaxby's famous chicken sandwiches and salads for pickup and delivery on the Zaxby's app or at zaxby's.com. But viewers, whilst we get our players into the next lobby and ready to go, we're going to throw to a very short break, but join us after that for more Fortnite action. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you used that time to order yourself some delicious Zaxby's, proud sponsor of HSEL. And we are just about ready to get into game 2. Still with you, Big Hungry Phil and Septilance, ready to go into the next game. And we've now got some names to look at, haven't we? We've got some people to track in this next game, Septilance.
Yeah, we absolutely do. At the end of that first game, and if you're just joining us, we saw that top 6 placement. Of course, in first place going to be Winders, who was the victor of that first round, coming out hot. And in second place, Ratonic, able to make it to the top 4, maybe even the top 3, but I believe it was top 4. They secured 5 eliminations in the final, maybe 3 minutes of that matchup. So they really put themselves out on top. And Flunf in that third place spot, they are 1 point behind Ratonic right now. So it is neck and neck. Winders has a comfortable 8-point lead, but if one of these two players performs even in an exact way they performed in that first match, they can really secure a name for themselves in this top 3. But if Winders can win another one, I mean, that's gonna really set the bar for the rest of these players.
So here's the thing, like a big points lead is great. You absolutely want a big points lead. The bigger the point lead, the better. But it's not a zero-sum thing here. When you get a big point lead, the other thing that you get alongside it is a big old target painted on your back, because now those other top 6 players are going to go, okay, cool, Winders, #1 competition, take him out, and it's an easy win for me. So Winders is going to have to start playing just that little bit more carefully. But Septilance, looks like we are ready to go in, and we're going to start off on board with the #1 place. That's Winders.
And like you said, Winders, I mean, like you said, absolutely going to have a massive target on their back here right now. They've got 2 tactical shotguns to make the magic happen. And in the beginning of a matchup, that's exactly what you want to have right at the beginning of this. But instead, we're going to see them drink this shield potion early on, give themselves a decent lead in terms of health. But now if they find any minis, they're essentially useless. I don't expect to see a lot of combat early on if it's like that first game when pretty much everybody spends the first circle or 2 just farming materials for that final game.
I think the thing that the early shield potion does, even if you do find the minis, it means that if you do find yourself dropped upon, if you find that you've landed near somebody else, or maybe not that near somebody else, but they've got a pretty decent shotgun, it gives you just that little bit extra time to respond to any incoming damage. It means that your risk of being 1, 2, 3 tapped are somewhat reduced. We're going to move over now with Flunf, who's right in the middle of looting here, as of course all our players will be for now. And not a terrible load up here, actually. The bandages are fine. Ideally, you really want more of the shields, because they're what gets taken out first and what gets replenished first. But, you know, not a terrible start.
Yeah, no, definitely a good start here, especially in terms of weaponry. They've got the charged shotgun, heavy assault rifle as well, and 2 impulse grenades, and that'll be really helpful for them to have great mobility and maybe an early engagement, maybe get to the other side of an enemy build. We see 1 elimination coming through now. We're down to 37 V negative taken out early on, and that's going to be a great look for the rest of these players. They've outlived 1 more person, and while that's, of course, a pretty easy thing to do this early in the game, every single person that gets eliminated is going to matter at the end of the day.
It is, and we are actually down 3 players now, so congrats everybody, you're in the top 37. And let's move over with Wins here, who is, I believe, down on the far southwest corner of the map. And, you know, it's a loadout. There's some weapons, there's some shield potions. It's not the worst thing in the world, but you've got to think we're looking to rotate slightly more inland rather than take... Oh, actually, we're just going to be doing some fishing here. I see what his plan is. Okay, having the harpoon gun nice and early.
Yeah, this is a plan that we're definitely not going to be seeing from a lot of other players. 2 eliminations coming out in the midst of that, though. So 2 more people down. We're not on to 33. Excuse me, what, 4 people have been eliminated? Wow. Well, we've been watching Wins go fishing. We've seen a couple more kills coming out quickly here, but Wins now full shield, full health, 2 med kits, small shield pot, assault rifle, harpoon gun, and tactical shotgun. The only thing this player is missing right now is the builds. Right now, if they get into a build battle, they are going to be down bad.
Well, you've got to assume that this early on in the game, whilst we're still in the 30 to 40 players remaining range, an extended build battle is probably not going to be happening, because nobody is coming in this with a full 1,500 mats ready to go. Like, it's all going to be fairly low. Looks like GGWP might be in the middle of a build fight, though. Had to use the impulse grenade just to get out and gain a little bit of height there. So, don't know who they're fighting here. We are going to lose Mouseman28 as well, putting us down to 32 players left in the game. And GGWP now on nice, solid high ground.
Yeah, GGWP with a great high ground, a weird kit here, a weird inventory, but they're gonna make the magic happen with it. They've got the AR, they've got the SMG, and they've got the shotgun. 3 staple items you see very often in these players' kits, no matter where they are in which slot. You see some variation of this loadout coming from these players relatively often. So we see GGWP now being boxed up, having to do that box strat, turtling a little bit here, just trying to keep themselves clean. But we've got somebody staring them in the face right now. I think there may have been 2 people there in the midst. I thought I saw somebody else, but I could be wrong. And here comes another impulse. GGWP he's got to get out of there right here, right now.
Yeah, it's the oopsie doopsie button of the impulse grenade. It's like, I'm not in a great position. Let's just slam this sucker down and get somewhere a little safer. Has forced them onto the low ground here, though. And given where GGWP is looking, it's possible we might be looking at more than just the 1v1 here. But now knows their opponent is directly above them. And has to be a little bit circumspect. Oh, yeah. And look, next to no materials available here for GGWP. Can't get involved in a big build war here. Might have to take the initiative. Sees them through the edit there. Who's gonna blink first here? Gun comes out, edit comes in, that's 33. In onto the shield.
Yep, GGWP has the opportunity here. 5 builds left, and they are running out of time. They cannot build anything else. They are going to tank a shotgun blast, make it 2. I think this is a 1v1v1. GGWP is not fighting a single person here. We see GGWP 1 health. Oh, yeah, the elimination will come through from Clux. It's going to be the elimination, the exact same skin. Taking out somebody looking just like you has got to be a little bit weird at the end of the day. And Clux taking out GGWP, now having a great kit of their own. Same issue we saw late on in the game. Currently no heals in their kit here.
Yeah, again, fairly early on in the game. We are now into the top 30, so plenty of time still to go and find those materials, find those health kits, find those shield potions, ready to go for when the fights really start to ramp up here. But looks like we've got the majority of our players sort of centered down in the southern half of the map, so as this ring starts to close in, we can expect things to get a little more chaotic on the south side of the island.
Absolutely, and I was able to catch something there while we were looking at our players. Winders is gone. Winders has been eliminated. I'm not quite sure when that happened, but their name is marked in that red at the bottom of the lineup. So Winders definitely not securing a victory here. I don't think they were even able to secure an elimination. So somebody can absolutely come in and take that lead now that Winders has absolutely no chance of holding on to it.
Yeah, very unfortunate. We didn't really see who took Winders out there. You'd like to think it was one of our existing top 5 or 6 players coming in with a game plan, ready to go and take Winders out to make them less of a threat. But it could just be the unfortunate algebra of Fortnite finding yourself against somebody with better equipment than you, who you had no particular vendetta against. We are going to see Clux now, again with the high ground position. Nice line through with the sniper, but a little bit slow on the shot. Couldn't get a good bead onto the opponent. And that was the skin that Retonic was wearing earlier. So it could be that we see them closing in on a Retonic here, which would be another big name to go down early if Clux can find the drop on them.
Yeah, Rotonic's making it to the top 30, but not even making it to the top 50% of players this time would be a bit shocking, as they were able to make it very far into the game with very little in their equipment, in their kit there. And now we see somebody building up the mountain. I don't want to say that you're definitely right, but I think you may be right that I do believe that is Rotonic as well. And I mean, from the building we're seeing right now, I would not be the least bit surprised to find out that it is. But it looks like that player, they're not really sure where they're being attacked from. We're seeing a lot of clumsy builds coming through, and now they're trying to make up for that build coming through, but they're unable to do so. The climb just does not make it, and the statue will fall there. The supports go down, and that's going to bring the rest of the build down with it.
Yeah, we did see some clumsy builds there, but also some clumsy shots coming through from Clux. I don't believe a single point of damage, but now used the boat to close the distance and get up close and personal. Bit slow on bringing out the gun there, and it's going to come through. Well stocked, closes the distance, finds the shot onto the shield here.
And Clux likes to play in a way very familiar with what we saw earlier. They like to get up close and personal. They like to do the damage with these shotguns. There's just less chance of missing your opponent when you're staring them right in the face. This playstyle a little bit more high risk, high reward. And Clux, I mean, they are looking to reap the rewards of this combat style. They are right underneath their opponent, and they know what needs to be done to kill them. Now the question is, can they do it with the builds that they are very quickly running out of? It seems like they've got maybe 15 platforms left, 15 builds left, and now that they're stuck in a turtling position, these platforms are going to start melting away.
But of course, this is a situation that favors Clux with the particular weapons they've got on board, and you can provide a lot of pressure. You don't necessarily have to get the kill straight away. You can just force your opponent to get further and further away from you and to use up their own resource to try and counter on you whilst you try and push in. They can play the waiting game here if they have to, but it looks like we've got some shots coming into Clux from the distance just behind them. Oh, finds the build coming through. Won't find the connect with the shot, though. Instead, back into build mode, but starting to run low. And if I believe out of build options here.
Yep.
So now, very dangerous position here. Might see them just have to abandon this or just try and use what's there already to find a better position here, because right now they are between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, truly, Klux has built their bed, and now they have to sleep in it. They have no more materials to run. They have no more materials to fight. They just simply need to find an elimination. I mean, I think if they run, they're going to catch a bullet in the back of the head. So right now, Klux needs to find the magic, and they are able to do so. It is going to be an elimination onto Vic, so it was not Ratonic as we thought it was Vic instead. But here's another player. Here's the third party coming onto Klux, and they just simply cannot live long enough. Best player able to third party off the back of it. Klux has no time to heal, no time to react, and best player now with a golden scar and a golden SMG, an epic purple shotgun, and more potions than probably anybody else in the game. Best player, 3 eliminations under the belt. They're looking quite good right now, almost halfway done with this match.
I mean, look, if best player can... Oh, no, it's going to be even more! There's no stopping this one! But best player, note, we've just gone over exactly how much kit he has here, how much ability they have to get in and do the damage they need to do here. Might have lost track of their opponent momentarily, jumps up onto the high ground, and the build continues. Higher and higher we go. Can't see their opponent just yet. In fact, yeah, you can. It's a race to the top here for both our players. No idea what this favors. Nope, the edit comes through. Won't find the connect. Looking for it still. Trying to outflank them, coming around to the left-hand side, stopping to pop a shield potion. Puts himself back in a really good position, ready for this. I have completely lost track of their opponent. I have no idea how Nut is keeping track of this one.
Yeah, I have to agree. I was just thinking that same thing. I've seen their opponent for maybe 15 frames in total at this point, but Nut constantly knows exactly where they are and exactly which way they need to be facing. And the builds here are just, I mean, they're incredible. The fact that these players are able to build so quickly and they can edit just as fast. I mean, they've built an entire castle in seconds, but Nut able to come out on top. And I think that was 92 damage to the head. 92. And it's going to be fall damage that takes out Cardiac. Oh, no, excuse me, takes out Zico. Cardiac was taken out by another player essentially simultaneously there. There's going to be 2 eliminations coming out back to back. And best player now bringing somebody out. Here comes another one. This player is simply not stopping. They're looking to find as many kills as possible. We are almost down to our final 20, but best player, they're going to tank 25 damage to the face. 4 eliminations, a couple of shields left. They've got to find this kill to really solidify a lead here.
Gets the high ground position, starts to break through, and he finds them. 84 onto the shield, 25 onto the HP, but the impact grenade comes out, and they are away, off into the distance, into the safety of the tree line. But best player Nut not out of this just yet, close the distance, and sees the build coming through. There wasn't the time to sit here and turtle, because best player is starting to close the distance, and will be coming for you with the guns blaring, ready to go. Has the high ground position, looking to break through that final bit of wall, and find the last piece of damage, but the build continues, tunneling their way away from Nut. But looks like he might have got the drop on them. Gets the destroy on the ball. Finds 84 damage, and there's the kill!
And it's going to be Peace, taken out by best player Nut. Guap able to find Evil or Saturn once again. That's 2 eliminations coming out fast, but best player Nut, I mean, the name is living to tell the truth right now. This player just won 4 1v1s in a row against these players, and they are still breathing at almost full health right now. They are giving us a phenomenal execution of gameplay so far. And now we're going to swap over to Wins, currently caught on the edge of the storm. Looks like they may be in a 1v1 of their own, but we of course have yet to see their opponent. The build battle coming out quick. Wins has plenty of materials to work with. All they've got to do is land a couple of shots with this blue shotgun, and they're able to put this player to rest. They're going to race to the sky limit once again. Things are going to get hot. 24 damage comes out quick, but Wins, they're going to drop the 23. There they go. Belia able to take Wins out of the fight. That is another player off the leaderboard taken out here.
Yeah, and of course, no kills on the board there for Wins, so no points here. Need to finish top 6 to get something, so expect to see Wins drop significantly in that leaderboard the next time we look at the cumulative results. Belia with 2 on board and up into the top 16. Fairly well kitted out. Will have the flopper, has a couple of shield potions as well. And let's just see how that works out for us. We have a quick look at the map as the storm starts to close in. 3rd storm so far. And we're on board with Fluff. And for every player that we've seen so far that finished in the leaderboard last time, we've seen them come through with no kills yet.
Yep. I was just about to comment on that very same thing. Flump playing this exactly the way they did last time. Also, 1,500 mats. That's 150 builds coming out right here. Flump is ready for a final game, and they're going to continue to hide. And honestly, I respect this strategy. I assume I would do something very similar to what Flump is doing right now. You really want to make it to that final circle, and then if you get eliminations off the back of that, that's simply more points onto your score. Especially being a player in 3rd place already, hiding like this is not a bad strategy at all.
And that's actually what we saw Flunt do in the previous round. By the time we were able to check in with Flunt, we were into one of the final circles of that match. They hadn't got any kills, and they were just waiting patiently, well kitted out, and ready to fight when the fight came to them. And we saw them finish with a third place finish overall. So a clearly well-practiced play style here. They know exactly what they're getting into, and they know exactly how they want to play, and they want the fight to come to them on their terms in the last possible minutes of the fight.
Right. Absolutely. And Flunf right now, even if they aren't the one to make it to that final circle, whoever kills them is literally about to be handed almost entirely free materials, full materials, and that's going to be a massive thing for that player. But now we see another Dragon's Breath shotgun has been dropped by somebody. Flunf coming up on what I believe is the initial build battle we saw best player in earlier on. That might not be correct, but I mean, it looks very similar, and actually now that I see the terrain around us, that might not be the correct thing. But now 15 players left. Flump in a very familiar position, able to make it to final circle last time. Full health right now, plenty of shields and 2 weapons that do a lot of damage very quickly. Flump, you know, anybody running into them is probably going to be pretty scared.
Oh, absolutely, and really, really great position here, particularly to have come in on the Dragon's Breath shotgun as well, one of the new weapons in the most recent season. A lot of damage potential there. Very good position to have that so relatively early on. You know, we say early on from the point of view as like these next 14 kills are probably going to take a minute before we really start to see them crank up, and then they're going to be whoomph, right up the scoreboard as the storm starts to close in. And actually, this is, I think, maybe what we missed from Flunf last time, is that they do appear to be playing right on the edge of the storm, which is why they've got no kills. They're just playing this incredibly slow, edge-of-the-ring style where they're going to be well kitted out for the next fight. Haven't seen any kills coming through in a while, though, yet, Septilence. I think maybe everybody's in that same position.
Yeah, I'm thinking that very same thing. I think a lot of these players, if not all of these players, are currently running for their lives. And if you look at the mini-map on the bottom right here, we see a bunch of players coming out very quickly in very close quarters. It seems a lot of them completely oblivious to that fact. So I think we can see a battle coming out very quickly. Flump putting up the build behind them. They know someone's behind them. They just cannot figure out who, and they cannot figure out where. So Flump going to continue to run. 12 players left. 2 eliminations have come through. If these players make it to top 10, that's going to net them a couple of points, but they're really going to want to make it to top 5, top 3 even, to really start having those points racking up.
I'm amazed that Flump has not taken a shot yet so far.
Not even a missed shot. Nobody's even fired at him.
I know, like, look how on top of him his opponents are. And in fact, the size of this build here suggests just how close his opponent is. The 2 arrows more or less overlapping it. And I think they might be hunting for each other and just dropping floor to floor, looking for each other, trying to find these kills, because they are almost right on top of them. I can't believe they've not been found yet.
I have to agree. And Flump now they've forced themselves into a close quarters combat. They've gotten rid of that assault rifle. They only have the SMG and the shotgun. So now they're going to have to play close quarters if they really want to start dealing some damage. Somebody now tailing Flump, but it looks like they gave up the engagement already. All these players desperate to get to this next circle, almost to our final 10, and the circle is about to start closing in once again. We are one elimination being in our final 10 for the second game here, and hopefully somebody gets a kill soon, because we see a lot of players, they're coming to close quarters very, very quickly.
I think Flump's actually pretty lucky here in that it looks like if you just watch the way the arrows are turning and the way that Flump is turning, Flump is constantly checking their 6, and I believe the person behind them is constantly checking their 6, so not losing any ground. Opted not to take that shot there, but has a good angle on somebody in the ring as we come through. Has the high ground by default here. Sees the build. We're going to get the damage in over the top. Won't find the connect.
Flump looks like they're interrupting a bit of a 1v1 here, but I've yet to see a second person. I only saw one person in there in the midst of that, and they were kind of build battling themselves for a minute, but Flump tries to capitalize off the back of it, unable to do so, but gives up on the kill relatively easy. This player definitely just looking to survive.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we're now into the top 10, only 9 players left. Pretty much where we picked up with Flump last time. So Flump is about to turn the dial from pacifism to out-and-out violence, I think. Not going to be given too many options, frankly, with the size of the storm at the minute.
Yeah, the storm coming in very quickly, and somebody putting the damage onto Flump right away. No damage comes through yet, but the damage onto the build we saw in the blink of an eye. Somebody's there, finds a 52 damage shot onto Flump there. Going to be able to really get rid of a lot of that shield very quickly, and I don't think Flump has even seen their aggressor yet. They just simply know somebody's in their house, and they've got to get them out. Made it to the top 10, so that is a little bit secured for them, but they need some eliminations on board, because sitting at 0 right now, definitely not a good look, as several of these players have at least 1 kill under their belts.
Right, and just going to go straight down here, takes up the position under their opponent, a bit more space, a bit more safety to pop this potion. And now at 100 shields and nearly 100 health, near his dagger. In a good position to take this fight, but you can see the opponent has the high ground position over them, almost always advantageous. I actually haven't got a good read on how many materials Flunth has left. I don't think they've been forced to use a whole lot recently.
You know, they definitely had full materials until this build battle started happening, and they really haven't added onto it very much. I'd say they're mostly, oh yeah, okay, they've used about all of their brick, but they've got plenty, they've got 12 brick builds left, and then they've got plenty of wood and metal builds after the back of that. Ratonic, 2 eliminations, the Silent Slayer once again making their way into the final circle. Oh, but it's going to be the AI putting the pressure onto Ratonic here. That's really going to be a struggle. I did not realize they were in this arena for it, but Ratonic, it is not even a problem. Doesn't even break a sweat, finds 2 very aggressive eliminations, and picks up 2 fantastic items off the back of it. High dealing items come out very quickly, 2 peppers, plenty of mini shields, 2 eliminations, the pressure coming onto Ratonic once again, and the builds just blink and you miss it. You've got a museum built in front of you.
Yeah, this is some modern art, some brutalist architecture coming up right before your very eyes, confusing geometries, MC Escher style nonsense appearing before your very eyes. And Ratonic making his own additions to this particular piece of modern art, gets the edit through, and I believe just sort of quick scanning here, looking for where his opponent is before any real commitment to the fight is made. Will of course have the impulse grenade ready to go to get out if they need to. So lots of options available for Ratonic, and we will see them now into the top 8. Would really like a top 5 finish here, and ideally a couple more kills on the board to move them from second into first position. We don't have a good idea at the minute how Winders is doing just yet, however. Look to see.
No, Winders is dead.
Well, of course. Do you know what? It's just not on my notes that they died, so because it was so surprising and so anticlimactic. I don't need to make a note of that. I'll remember that Winders is dead, and apparently, no, I won't.
Yeah, no, honestly, it is really a difficult thing because Winders is gone, Ratonic in second place, Flumph in third. These two 1 point apart. So with these two both being alive is absolutely crazy. So it really comes down to which one of these players performs perhaps just a little bit better. And now Flumph trying to get out of the storm, but it takes a couple of breaks. They're going to take a lot of damage, but they're going to be sent right back into our next circle. No damage taken from that. We're down to our final 5. Blink and you miss it. Players dropping like flies left, right, and center here. Flumph with a fantastic high ground. The center being pushed in around in the storm, moving quickly, but Flumph moving a little bit quicker. Somebody putting in the pressure coming down underneath them. The shield pots for days still online, and Flumph just a little bit bloodthirsty now. Like you said, that switch has been flipped.
I really want to see the Flunth Ratonic 1v1 for who's going to be coming out of this in that number 1 position here, because that's currently what it looks like. 5 players left in the game. I don't believe we've got GWP anymore. We don't have wins, we don't have peace, we don't have Winders. It's down to how well these two can place that dictates what the stakes are for the final match in the series. And edit started to come through, the build started to come through, and it is once more the race to the skybox. Flunth with a momentary stop there to pop some shields, ready for when the fight truly breaks out here. Momentary patience, but the damage comes through onto their wall. Oh, nice! This is it! 104 damage in over the top. Now into the top 4. Sees them come down on the side, and Flunth is down to Lubru.
Lubru, a player we have not seen quite yet, but I started yelling, this is it, because the player that was just done a bunch of damage to was Ratonic. We saw Flumph just dump 109 damage into the face of Ratonic there, so that player got to be a little bit scared here. Lubru, though, I mean, they've got a kit, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a good one for this final circle. They have very little healing, they have nothing to repair their health, only their shields, and this shotgun, oh, but they're going to make it work! Able to pick up another elimination onto boost here. Lubru, 4 eliminations, top 2! All of a sudden, underdog to say the least.
Wait, when did we lose Ratonic here?
I don't know. I guess I was wrong. This is TV Plays.
Yeah. Okay. So none of our top 6 in the top 2, and it looks like TV Plays with a high ground for now. Just naturally, catches their opponent outside of the build, and that is it. Lubru taken out by the shotgun to the face, and a delicious victory royale for TV Plays.
That's going to be 2 players back-to-back, and TV Plays picks up 5 eliminations. Okay, if I'm doing my math correctly, and I might be wrong on this, I think Ratonic came in 5th place, because we saw them when there were 6 people left, and then they just vanished. Yeah, and we saw the rest of the eliminations come through live on stream, so I think Ratonic would be our 5th place player here. We're going to go into these drop standings, and this is going to be this map alone on how these players performed and how well they did, and then we will go into overall standings. But for this matchup alone, our top 6, only 2 of these names are familiar.
That's right, and Flunth coming through with a slightly higher score there than Retonic. Retonic scraping in at number 6 with 5 points, then Rapid NY at 6, SC Boost at 8, Flunth at 8, Lou Brew at 12, and TB Plays with a stonking 20 points, which is actually more than Winders managed in their first round. So these standings more or less flipped on their head after the second match.
Yeah, we're going to move into our total standings now, and we're going to see how these players are faring overall. TB Plays, that 20-point secure. Winders second. Flump and Retonic tied for third at 16.
Wow.
And we've got Lubru and Boost in 5th and 6th here with 12 and 10 points respectively. But honestly, 3rd and 4th place, Flump and Retonic are the players to watch out for, in my opinion, right now. They are just underdogs, to say the least. They've made it to final circle both times. And while neither of them have come out with a victory, they've played consistent enough to place top 4, or I mean, to be top 3, technically. They're tied for 3rd place.
So, if we look at how this has worked out, Winders in the first round, fantastic game. Huge score, 19 points. Nothing in the second game.
0.
And then 0. Bagel, nothing on the board. And then for this second round, TB Plays, huge game, massive, nothing in the first round. If we get another player that has come from nowhere, has a massive game, and then gets up into that number 1 position again, and Flunth and Retonic just manage another good, consistent game, that puts them right into contention to take that first position. So it's not about having one good game, it's about having 3 pretty good games. Anyway, ladies and gents, everybody else, we are about to go into the next break before our final match of the day. But before we go into that, just remains to thank another one of our sponsors today. That is, of course, the National Guard. In the Army National Guard, you can start a career in exciting fields like science, communications, engineering, and medicine, all while earning money to further your education. Get paid to learn skills in these high-demand and rewarding professions, all while serving part-time for your local community, state, and nation. To learn how you can become a citizen soldier, visit nationalguard.com, and we'll be back after a short break for the final match of the HSEL Fortnite Invitational. Welcome back, everybody, to the final third of today's broadcast. We're going to be bringing you one more match of Fortnite. And Stepsilence, just before we came back to camera, we were talking about how this is incredibly up in the air. Like, I wouldn't want to put any money anywhere on trying to predict how this is going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is absolutely insane. We've got players neck and neck for 3rd place. It is an absolute tie. And 1st place and 2nd place separated by a single point.
Yep.
TB Plays in 1st place with 20 points, and Winders in 2nd place with 19. Winders definitely underperforming in that second game, so definitely not something we want to repeat for them here. But these are our total standings coming up here in just a minute. You see TB Plays 1st place, Winders in 2nd, Flump and Retonic tied for 3rd place with 16 points each. And that by no means counts out Lubru or Boost, who have both made it to the top 6 as well. So keep an eye on those names, because they could be coming at you in a blink and you miss it moment. These players could be here for everyone to watch. And we're going to be moving into our 3rd and final game, and it's going to be nothing but intense. That much I'm sure of.
And I was talking about this just before we went to break, about the fact that having one standout game is nice. It probably puts you on the leaderboard, and we've seen that both for TB Plays, who did nothing in match 1 and then stormed up the leaderboard in number 2, and then the inverse of that for Winders. And if we're in a position where we get another dark horse from the back of the pack that finds that number 1 post, then that really upsets the apple cart really here, because TB Plays and Winders, whilst they are in the lead, it's not a big lead. As you rightly said, 1 point between 1st and 2nd, and then only 3 points between 2nd and 3rd, and technically 2nd and 4th as well here. So, how do you judge this? For me, the only thing that has looked particularly consistent is Retonic and Flunth, having managed that 3rd and 4th on good showings each time. So we're going to be looking for them to repeat that here and see how they can do. But let's dive into the final match, and we're going to be starting on board here with TB Plays, the winner from match number 2.
Yep, starting with that first player already. He's taking shots in the sky. Somebody's about to go down. They are one bullet away. It's going to be close. Wow! TB plays, finds Guap, and kisses them goodbye. Blink and you miss it. We're already down to 32 players. It looks like we started with 36, so it looks like 4 players may have lagged out or been unable to play in this third game, but hopefully none of them were the big names we've been watching. TB plays making an immediate name. Guap doesn't even get to touch the ground.
Man, that was some god-tier tracking then, because you could see Guap zigging and zagging and looking to get out of the way, and it just didn't phase plays at all. Just boom, laser focus. Man, if he can keep up that performance for the rest of this match, TB Plays could be making a massive run into this one.
Yeah, absolutely. TB Plays also rocking that God of War axe. Love to see it. One of my favorite games of all time. One of my favorite series of all time. And TB Plays showing maybe that same love. But right now, if this player can keep up that momentum, this is going to be a very quick and efficient tournament for them. The first game a little rough. Comes out super strong in the second and starts immediately with a punch to the face on third. Right now, TB Plays just bringing the heat.
And, that puts TB Plays at 21 points, so increasing that lead by 1 point over Windows means that Windows has to do that a little bit better to maintain that number 1 position. And in an ideal world, if you are Windows, Retonic, Flumph, Lubru, or Boost, you've got to be looking for this number 1 and number 2 players. You've got to take them out now. They are your biggest threat from taking this tournament. They've got to go now, but finding a specific player in a map the size of the Fortnite map is difficult. So the hunt's tricky, but if you find them, if you stumble upon them, you've got to go hard, you've got to go fast, you've got to knock them out of the game if you want to come away with the gold.
Yeah, and I would love to say something like these players might be easier to take out early game, but TB Plays has already shown us it doesn't matter what point in the game they are. If they've got a gun in their hands, you better be scared because they are not missing a shot. Now we see another one coming out early, 30 damage onto somebody caught in the street here, unable to build fast enough. TB Plays finds the damage, going to get hyper-aggressive, build right into the enemy face. The turtling is going to be forced out early on. They do the replacement build. They're going to come too quick. They're going to take a little bit damage of their own, but there it is. That's going to be an elimination onto Rhonda there. Extra was eliminated almost simultaneously. So things have been a phenomenal look so far. 28 players left, and TB Plays 2 eliminations already under belt here.
Yeah, this is a really dominant performance. It's amazing to me that we didn't see anything from TB Plays, and yet back on board with the Tonic. Already has 1 kill on the board, and if you look at the top left, that's Lubru getting a point and a kill on the board as well here. So far, lots of action from our top 6 players. I'd like to think this is the game where we finally see them all pull up a good, consistent performance, and we get to see all 6 of them make it to that final ring, that final 5, that final 6, and make it a really tense, really energetic final fight for this end of the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. These 6 players, they know if any of them can come out with a battle royale, it's a win. That is a tournament win. That is an invitational win for any of our top 6 players if they can secure a victory. We see Steam stacks being a little bit crowded here, but a lot of the players seem to be on our west side of the map. A lot of eliminations coming through, and it looks like all top of our 6 players are still in here, assuming they weren't some of the players to not make it back into the game, which they very well may have been. But Winders is here as well. Second place still after that first place victory. Oh wait, that's actually... Is that true? Yeah, I believe
that is. Yeah, 19 for Windows, 20 for TB Plays.
So second place for Winders, definitely a good look so far. A great loadout as well, but no mid-range weapons. We see a close range, 2 close range, the SMG and the shotgun, and the long range with the sniper rifle under belt. They've got 6 of those impact grenades coming out and those mini shields as well. Winders in a decent position from a long range or very close range matchup.
Oh, no.
We're going to have to see how well they can really aim this sniper rifle though, because the damage is coming in hot.
Well, you can just see one player making it off to the right-hand side of the screen there with the car, but Windows is looking for slightly more pedestrian targets here, and acknowledges that there is somebody tracking him here, keeping a weather eye on his 6 as he looks to make it out of the line of fire and take good defensive high ground positioning. Now has a good line onto their opponent, shots coming in. Instead, going to look to get out and start to find a little bit more safety. And has spotted that car, that truck slowly making its way around the map off to the left-hand side there. And Willis is going to try and path in between both that car on the left and the opponent sniping at him from the right-hand side here.
Yeah, definitely caught in a pincer thing here, and somebody probably shooting at them from Salty Towers, often known as Tilted Towers. Cool, not as cool little brother here. So Salty Towers, also a great place to land. A lot of high ground to come out very quickly as well. And things are definitely looking a little bit rough here for Winners. It's like we talked about. There's kind of that pincer happening. They're stuck between that car and somebody who's got, I mean, their head on a platter here, trying to take them out from that Salty Towers. A lot of the players are going to be moving toward the middle of this circle, and we've got to see maybe a couple of these players perform just a little bit better. Here's Flump. Would love to say I'm surprised that they're just driving around, but I really cannot say that. They've got the Scar, they've got the blue charge shotgun, they've got a couple impulse, they've got the shields coming in hot, and they've got the opportunity to survive here.
And this is exactly what we've come to expect from Flump, right? This is, I'm just going to play at my own speed. I'm going to play sort of towards the edge of the storm circle. I'm just going to make sure that when the pressure starts to come my way, I'm looking more like a diamond and less like a piece of coal, more likely to withstand it, less likely to crumble.
Yeah, absolutely. We see Flump. We saw this last game. We saw it the game before. Doesn't really go out of their way to run into people early game. But as soon as late game comes out, the bloodthirsty Flump arrives and really starts to put the pressure out. I also love the golf club pickaxe they've got going on right now. It's a cheeky little thing to have. And now we're going to see a lot of pressure coming out of Weeping Woods here. The players maybe not noticing each other yet. That area is quite covered up, and it's quite difficult to see people. Somewhere amongst the Chaos TV plays, they did connect that second elimination, and now they've got a decent load out of their own. Only 2 guns, but these impulse grenades, I mean, they're very popular for these players. Almost everybody's got them in the inventory.
Well, you know, in a situation where you are in a build war to get up as high as you can to get the high ground advantage,
You need a safety out.
Yeah, you've got a safety out, and also we've actually seen a couple of players do this where they keep it just so that they can get that instantaneous high ground, get out of the range of the damage immediately, aim down and get their headshot with whatever they've got equipped and find a quick kill. It's a high skill play, it's a high risk play, but if you are confident in your ability to make that happen, then it's a really good way to secure a couple of extra kills.
Yeah, absolutely. And the play that TV just did there doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but they are at full mats, so at the same time it kind of does make a little bit of sense, especially if they're going to choose to bunker down here. I was going to say it was weird to build more material than you were going to get from hitting the rock to begin with, but it looks like they're going to choose to stick in this build a little bit longer, which is good. They're in circle, they're slightly outside Pleasant Park, and they've got no idea, but somebody's just a little bit away out right on the bottom corner of Pleasant Park there.
Yeah, I think this is one of the subtleties of playing the game versus watching the game being played, is that I think they are getting some significant audio cues here as to there being somebody fairly close by. Rotonic with another kill there in the top left-hand corner, so that's going to be more of that consistency we were hoping to see from him here.
Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely
on board with him, 2 already.
Yeah, we're going to jump back on board with Rotonic here, and the pressure coming out very quickly. It's going to be 2 eliminations. They're just trying to farm those mats, and it looks like they just missed a rather large build battle here.
Yeah. Oh, in fact, I do... No, okay. I did think for a second there that we saw Rotonic just fairly close by to TV Plays. I wonder if that was maybe what TV Plays could hear, but it looks like this is just a fairly similar-looking section of the map, unfortunately.
Yeah, these players go toe-to-toe. I mean, if we see those players, TB Plays and Rotonic go toe-to-toe, only one of them is walking out alive. They will take that tooth and nail. They will be super aggressive with that fight just to take out one of those top contenders, because if they do, that's going to help them secure a spot further on, especially if they can take out such an aggressive player early on in the fight.
Worth noting, we've now lost 17 players, nearly at the halfway mark here for the final match. So in terms of what points are available for our players, in fact, now we have actually hit the halfway mark, 18 out of 36 players remaining, which means there's only 18 more points left on the board in terms of who can get what points. I expect most players to come away with 1 or 2. Only a handful of players are going to be coming away without 5 or 6, which means that we probably already have the players with 2 kills on board that are in that position to take that early lead. And the storm circle is starting to close in, with a lot of that actually covering the ocean at the north end of the island. For a ring this early on in the game, relatively speaking, that is a very small amount of ground to be playing with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really going to be I mean, not only is it closing into this circle, but they've got half of the ground within the circle to work with because the other half is water. And sure, they can swim in it, but nobody wants to be there in a tournament like this one, in an invitational where you can't build, you can't really fire. Like, it'd be sloppy. You really don't want to end up there on that side of the ocean and just in the water in general. Not a good look. But TV Plays now, they've got almost full materials. They're one metal material off of being full build. It looks like they might hear somebody in this building. Somebody's got to be close, the door wide open. And there it is. Is it going to be Ratonic? It's going to be another white skin. TV Plays putting the pressure on quick. One of these players will walk away alive. One will not walk away at all. It's going to be close, and the other players seemingly have vanished.
Oh, this is a fight that more or less dictates what the top of the leaderboard looks like, if that indeed was Ratonic. Like this, Ratonic going down here means that he can't get that third time consistent performance, and TV Plays, if they can get the kill here, really helps lock in that number 1 position. But the build war is on. TV Plays, as the high ground looks to get the edit through, but gets juked. There's nobody in that box after all, but they still have the high ground, and they are keeping level with their opponent for now. Waiting for the opportunity to strike, sees the edit come through, can't find it. Bit of damage comes through. TV Plays now down at 77 shields, drops down, sees their opponent do similar. And this is a real game of cat and mouse here. Nobody giving an inch. This is really quite tense stuff.
Yeah, if one of these players makes a single edit mistake, they don't build at all when they want to build in a certain scenario, that could really cost them this build-up. And this is really looking like a fight where maybe this person kind of stuck in this mouse scenario, maybe they just want to impulse out of here because TV Plays is very clearly not going to be letting up on this pressure and has plenty of materials to play this game a lot longer than I think their opponent is ready for. And I'm trying to think of somebody else in a white skin, and I cannot think of it. I really do think this is TV Plays and Ratonic coming in, but another shot comes out onto TV Plays. This opponent really putting on the pressure. That's 2 back-to-back shots, and TV unable to find a shot quite yet off the back of it. Back up to 50 shields, but 50 unable to be repaired as they only have those mini shields online.
Nice from the top, but a huge amount of damage to both shields on that one. TV Plays now again back up on the high ground, and we are more or less back to where we started with this exchange. These two players refusing to give a single inch in this fight. Expect them to take, I don't know, maybe the next hour to try and make this fight wound out. Here is what it feels like it's going to go on for. TV Plays still looking to get the high ground. Now no longer has the high ground. Damage comes through. TV Plays down!
It's going to be TV Plays! Vic, the underdog here, able to find TV Plays in the cast. TV Plays, that was disastrous. That could cost them the win.
I think this was a third party. I think this was Vic getting the snipe in, and now has the high ground position over what we have to assume here is still Ratonic. Ratonic needs to win this out here. Ratonic getting the win here, finding the pick onto Vic, who has 6 kills under their belt. Wow, a lot of damage out of the shields. This is not looking good. And again, another player that appears to have stormed in from nowhere, from 0 points on the board, but is now out of the fight. Actually, no, chasing the build. Now we are in a very, very low build environment. Vic looking to build back up again. Oh, no, looks like he might have got the misread on that one. Instead gets out and now back into the fight. Ramping the way up, and well, I thought that was going to be much more aggressive from Vic, honestly.
Yeah, Vic playing really slow here, and that's giving this opponent a lot of opportunity that I do still think is Ratonic. I think. Oh, and Vic's going to pay the price here. A gold scar, plenty of healing, though. The purple shotgun as well, 6 eliminations. Materials is where Vic is really about to start to struggle. That may be why they went for that third-party elimination to begin with. They knew they didn't have the materials for that 1v1 matchup, but Vic taking the damage once again. The healing going to come through just a little bit longer. Going to drink another mini shield, but at this point, that's not really going to matter as your opponent is not letting up the pressure. Vic able to secure 6 eliminations, which is going to be great for the scoreboard, but if they don't walk away from this one, that could be disastrous. There's still over 10 people left.
Wow. Vic in a real position there to make themselves either Kingmaker or King Killer. Instead, knowing that they can't win out this extended build war, is opting to make discretion the better part of valor, get to a safer position, start to get some mats, and get ready for this next fight. And we are now back with Winders, who so far has not been able to put so much as a tick on the board this round.
Yeah, Winder's still alive, which is a great look, but, you know, after that first game performance, you just expect a little bit more from this player. They've got a decent loadout, but a very close quarters one. They've got the shields, they've got the impulse grenades, 6 of them, to be honest, and I mean, to be factual here. They've got the 6 grenades that they could really use to run, but they're really going to struggle to get into this very early on very quickly. They need to be close quarters, and they don't get any value with the loadout they have.
But there's a world here where if TV Plays goes down fairly soon and all that Winders does is survive into the points, they're actually in a really good position to take first here. So as much as it's not that much fun to watch Winders just sort of twiddling his thumbs and waiting for the moment to strike, I don't hate it strategically.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good strategy. We saw that come out from a lot of players that continuously survive to that top 5, that top 10, is they don't take aggressive action like if they don't need to. They wait it out. If somebody presses them or they think they can find an easy kill, they go after, they go through the back of it. But if they can't, if they don't think they're going to win the matchup, they don't push into it. And that is what's really separating these constant survivors, these constant returners to these final circles from the people we've seen earlier on today, is they don't feed into that over-aggression.
No, it's all been calm, collected, cool, patient play. And whilst we have seen standout performances from Winders, who was, coming into the last fight with a lot of kills under his belt already, and the same from TV plays in the previous round, consistency is king here. If it was a one and done, going flat out and finding all the kills you can would be the play, probably, because you need all the points you can get. But the fact that it's a 3-series event here means that if you can just play in a more measured way, in a less flat out, in a less manic way, then you do make life easier for you over the course of the series.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are coming down to what could be the top 10 very, very soon. The circle closing in once again on circle 4 of 9. And most players are currently in the circle. Somebody, looks like there might be somebody out there fighting the storm, but that also may be an NPC. So I'm not completely sure. But
I bet that's Flump. I bet that's Flump on the edge of the storm.
I would not be surprised if you were absolutely correct on that. Flump is a player that we've seen time and time again loves to hug the edge of the storm like that. And it's a strategy that very clearly works. They make it to top 10 every single time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think there's anybody likely to be behind them. Just by playing so close to the edge of the ring, you've more or less guaranteed that you've got a nice leisurely walk with the environmental damage at your back. And Winders is still just playing casual observer here, not getting into the fight. He's going to wait until I think he's probably into the top 10 or he gets pressured before there's any more aggression coming out of them. And you mentioned that there's a lot of kit available for them. We've got the impulse grenades. We've got a pretty good spread of weapons here. So when the damage does start to come to Winders, he's in a really good position to catch that and feed it right back again. Ooh, he takes a lot of damage. And there's going to be Juice this time fighting up again. Another player that we've not really seen anything from today. And the war is still on. Juice drops to the low ground and then immediately starts building again. And we are out of there. Back up onto the high ground and over onto Lubru instead.
Yeah, Lubru here, playing that strategy we talked about earlier. Playing it safe, not taking the fights they don't need to be taking. Things just not an amazing look, and it's not something that, they don't take these unnecessary risks, and that's really what's setting them apart from people that are... I mean, look, that's a new player! You couldn't even tell if you weren't paying attention. You blink, and you can't even tell that that's another player. But right now, we see... And there's best player doing the exact same thing. They're all bunkered up, they're all turtled up, and they're just doing a phenomenal job finding these eliminations early on, or not finding any eliminations until the final circle. Best player now with 3, trying to find something cheeky off the back of it, but unable to do so.
Blix is going to go down as Juice gets another one on the board, just going by the kill feed in the top left there. And I suspect we're about to see things heat up a little bit here, because look where the next ring is going to be compared to where all of our players are.
They're going to be pushing.
They need to book it. They got to go. They got to run.
Yeah, they are going to be pushing. They're going to be pushing hard, and they're going to be pushing fast against these opponents. And now we see a matchup here. The opponent taking much more damage than our player right now, whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce. But right now, we see the pressure coming out very quickly. 8 people left. This is where you start to get aggressive. This is where you take these matchups. This is where you want to put the pressure on. You want to find these kills early on, and they're going to be able to. It's going to be Lubru! Lubru's taken off the board! That's going to be 7 people left. This player able to confirm their first elimination, and Lubru going to be taken out. That is not going to be a victory for them today. No victory royales on board for Lubru. Now, best player still alive. 3 eliminations under the belt. 7 players left. Plenty of healing and some great weapons to match. Can they take the next matchup? Maybelia playing much slower as well. And here's Juice still alive. 6 eliminations under belt.
Wow. And I'm just going through this. So Nuts, Maybelia, Juice. Winders is still in this.
I don't think Winders is the remaining
3. Yeah, Winders as he's bought this house and now he's considering how long the mortgage is going to need to last to be paid off by the time they retire.
Yeah, these players, they're playing slow, and then all of a sudden they just turn on this switch and they're the most aggressive players we've ever seen.
Yeah, I was just trying to track if we still have Retonic and Flunf in this. I've not seen them in a little while, and it's making me concerned that they weren't able to pull that consistency out of the bag.
I don't think we statistically can have both of them. I think we've seen 5 of the 7 players, so unless Ratonic and Flump are the other 2, then they may be left, but I think we may have seen 5 or 6 of these players already, so this might... they might already be gone, and the kill feed may have not updated live for us, but we'll find out soon. Only 6 players to be eliminated here. Winders, still 0 eliminations, but able to make it top 7, make it top 10, top 7 even. There you go, identical build, and somebody's going up and over Winders right now. They're going to get lost in the build here, but they're probably exactly what they want. They've been playing slow the entire time. I doubt they want to be the center of attention right now.
No, absolutely not. I mean, for Winders, if you get 0 kills and finish top, there's a really good chance that you are going to steal this win out at the end of it as well. Like, I don't think you have to play aggressive here if you're Winders.
Oh. Well, Winder's definitely not going to be playing aggressive. Instead, moving to where the circle is going, and now going to put the pressure onto somebody caught in the box here. I'm unable to see who that is, but right now, they're definitely finding the pressure. Winders takes, I don't think they confirmed a shot. They put a little bit of pressure into the build there, but the player was able to build up off the back of it. 33 damage in the air. A great Hail Mary shot coming out from Winders, and here comes another grenade. They're going to put the pressure on. They're going to do it quickly on top of somebody else's build here. Winders, now the controller of what's going to be our next circle.
The clunk, clunk, clunk of the dial moved from pacifism straight into aggression here from Winders, as the high ground has a great vantage. 30 damage on, and even more coming through. This is a great position for Winders to really start racking up the points now.
The way some of these shots have hit have been so cheeky. They never seem like they're going to hit, and then all of a sudden, they're able to come off the back of it. And right now, the aggression coming out from Winders, now on the high ground, they've got the stability of platforms, but somebody trying to put the pressure in quick. 66 damage mid-air, but there's going to be a third party coming in on the Winders. A lot of the shield taken out, 72% of the shield taken out, but already back up to 50, trying to make it that clean 200. But the pressure is not going to stop. Still, 7 players left, and the circle is gone. It's just going to keep moving until these players find themselves at the end of the matchup.
And this comes back to what we were saying right at the start here about being prepared for this final ring. What we're seeing here is that every single player here is incredibly well prepared.
It's
Juice is able to find Winders.
Is that the 7th kill?
That is 7. There's a world here. If Juice can find this remaining 6 kills, he's got himself. Ratonic's here! Ratonic's here! Number 2. 31. That was 93 damage over onto the shield, and he started to close the distance.
There it is.
The mid build.
Best player
on the board. Best player down.
Best player, not the best today.
This is Ratonic making a very deep run for the top of the leaderboard here. 3 on the board and in the top 5. This is almost definitely him climbing into at least 2nd position.
Yeah, Ratonic just desperately trying to find maybe not that first, but even that 2nd place spot, trying to climb this ladder as high and as far as possible. And I think there is a world where Ratonic, if they can secure a victory royale here, I think they are able to put themselves in that 1st place position. That's going to be quite difficult to do. They don't have the mats. They've got the items. They've got 1 grenade left. They've got the shields. They've got the peppers, but they need the pressure. Ratonic able to dump 24 damage into the back of somebody there. I'm not quite sure who that was, but now 3 eliminations under belt. The materials are melting away. Every build Ratonic makes has to be exactly what they need because they are running out of time and materials.
I believe that was Juice that was nearby there, so definitely a player to be taken out. You don't want Juice really doing too much more on this one. Now into the top 5, Ratonic down on the low ground. There's a kill coming through, up against his doppelganger there.
Juice
also
again.
in a little white suit. Juice.
Flump just died!
80
No, Ratonic!
Ratonic's gonna go down!
It's gonna be Juice! It's gotta be Juice! Juice is on fire, 11 health left. Juice able to secure the victory royale, 11 health, 10 eliminations, and Juice just comes in and dominates the 3rd game. That could not have been a better performance. Juice takes out over 25% of the lobby single-handedly?
Yeah, that was an absolutely phenomenal performance. And every game, all 3 games, we've had this player that just goes, might be time to go sicko mode now. And come out on top of the bracket. 27 points. I guess
27%. 27% of the lobby.
Sorry.
Was taken out.
Let's have a look. I think we're getting the scores on board. Let's see exactly how well Juice did here, because this is going to be Juice with 25, Ratonic with 9. So Ratonic is going to tie with Juice here, and nobody else from our existing bracket, I think, has done enough. We will have the overall standings coming up shortly, but I think this could be a tie for 1st and 2nd place.
This is going to be close.
First place.
The overall standings are going to come in right now. Ratonic, 2nd place by a single point. Juice with the 10 bomb coming in the 3rd game is going to be 26 points. Juice just barely comes in, clutches out from underneath Ratonic, who gave us 3 consistent games in a row, Flump in that 3rd place position. And I mean, this top 6, other than Juice, not the least bit surprising. 5 of those players we saw time and time again. The Juice comes in and I feel like steamrolls isn't even the word. Like, Juice cleans house on that 3rd game. 27% of the lobby taken out by that player alone.
You've got to really feel for Ratonic here, though, because
Truly.
like Ratonic and Flump between them have just been so consistent, so persistently at the top end of performance, and then just Juice finds numbers that mathematicians haven't invented yet for how hard the aggression was in that final match, and just blows him out of the water in one round.
Yeah.
So close by 1 point. And just think, if Ratonic had got that final shot in onto Juice, that would have been completely the other way around. Like, Ratonic would have been climbing to the top. However, we can't take it away from Juice. That was such a strong performance in the final match, and my hat's off to him. But you know what that means, Septulence? It means that we are right at the very end of the broadcast here today. All that remains is to say thank you one more time to one of our sponsors. This time, big thanks to Asus ROG Tough, the official hardware sponsor of HSEL and Fall Major 2020, globally recognized as the #1 gaming brand worldwide and used by elite school esports teams. However, for myself and from Septulence and from everybody else here that makes the broadcast possible, from everybody here at HSEL, that is going to be the end of the broadcast, and we hope you've enjoyed watching it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. Septulence, before we go, any words to close out the broadcast?
Just congratulations to Juice today. You guys, everyone we saw today, all 40 players, gave it their best. They put their hearts on the line, and it really shows. We saw a lot of these players bring every single thing they had to the table. So congratulations to each and every single one of you that really put on a show for us today. And thank you so much, everybody, for having both BHP and myself here today. We were both really excited to do this. And I mean, he's up at what's got to be 3 o'clock in the morning for him.
It's 9 minutes past 3 for me. Yeah.
So just to give him that little shout out for staying up with us as well. But also a huge shout out to all of you guys for watching. Thank you so much for sticking with us. And, you know, things were rough, but these were absolutely some great games. So again, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. And we hope we'll see you at the next HSEL broadcast.
At Zaxby's, there's nothing better than hand-breaded chicken, unless it's hand-breaded chicken with sauce. From sweet to savory, mild to wild, even that world-famous Zax sauce. Whatever you're craving, we've got the sauce at Zaxby's.